Shalom, this is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. Website is www.spiritandtorah.com. It's an article I've just written called Women Teaching, Preaching, Prophesying, Testifying. Although I am sure this article will be like a finger sticking in the eye of the Laodicean Jezebel spirit that controls much of modern-day Christianity and the Messianic religious systems, this article will provide clarity and joy for the pure hearts who really want the truth. First, there are various things women seek to do in this culture who profess Christ. They want to teach, prophesy, and testify. Women trying to teach other men doctrine is absolutely and always prohibited in an assembly. 1 Timothy 2, from which Paul quotes Torah, the book of Genesis, makes it clear females are not equipped to be pastors, period. Anyone who wants to dispute that might as well rip out the book of Genesis and 1 Timothy 2. Now, women who desire to teach children and other women are perfectly free to do so. In fact, this is a commandment for righteous women to do in order to raise up sons, daughters, and younger women in the faith appropriately. Women are certainly allowed to prophesy and testify, as we see several examples of prophetesses in Scripture. First, let's look at Deborah. Judges 4:4 gives the very first mention of Deborah, calling her a prophetess. Notice the first time we ever read of her, it says she is the wife of Lapidoth. In other words, Yah is making it clear Deborah was in total submission to Lapidoth, and Lapidoth's head was Yah. Then in verse 9, when Deborah encourages Barak, a man, to fight, she scolds Barak because men should have been the ones leading this charge, and it was a shame that a female prophetess had to get men into action. If anything, Deborah shows that a woman who wishes to be a prophetess or testify must have her husband with her, in total submission to him, and also realize that a woman being elevated to the status of a judge was a shame due to the fact that men were not seeking Yah as they should. Next, we see Huldah, the prophetess in 2 Chronicles 34 and 2 Kings 22. Again, in the very first mention of Huldah, 2 Chronicles 34:22 states she is the wife of Shallum. In other words, her husband, her head was right there with her when she would deliver her words from Yah. The four daughters of Philip in the book of Acts, who were prophetesses, dwelt with their father, a mighty man of Yah. Anna, the prophetess, lived in the temple as a widow and always had the high priest overseeing her. Priscilla, the wife of Aquila, was always with her husband when testifying and evangelizing. So it was a husband and wife preaching couple in the book of Acts. I would love a wife like that. In other words, even when a woman is in the role of a prophetess or testifying, she was always with her husband or father. So again, any female doing any script stuff on YouTube without her husband or father present is out of line. Same goes for websites. It is not of Yah. And this is why we have so many idiotic dreams and visions out there spoken by women who may have good intentions but do not have a clue what they're doing. My prayer is that more men of Yah will rise up, boldly proclaim the Torah in spirit, upholding the blood atonement of Yahshua, so that righteous women will have the role models they need. Husbands and fathers need to stand up and stop being so timid like Barak. Deborah would have rejoiced to meet me, Daniel John Lee, for I would have said, Deborah, tell your husband, come with me to war and watch what Yah does. Deborah would have rejoiced and praised Yah. So men, rise up. www.spiritandtorah.com. Shalom.